Yo, what's up, guys? It's King Sean here, and we have some kind of breaking news here from Jordan Schultz. He put out a tweet saying the Commanders and Texans have had significant interest in trading for 49ers receiver Deebo Samuel, with talks progressing in recent days, sources tell NFL on Fox. Other teams, including the Steelers and Broncos, have also checked in, but Houston and Washington are believed to be the most aggressive. So this is a very interesting tweet right there, and it doesn't surprise me, to be honest. The connection with Deebo Samuel is there, and we need another receiver, right? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about this whole Deebo Samuel situation and if he would be a good fit here in Washington if we were to trade for him. But before we get into today's video, make sure y'all leave a like down below, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into today's video. Alright, so once again, Jordan Schultz reported that the Commanders and Texans are heavily interested in Deebo Samuel, which to me isn't a surprise. I mean, both teams make 100% sense. Like the Texans, they have D'Amico Ryans, so the Niner connection right there. And obviously, we have Adam Peters. He was the assistant GM for the Niners and has a good relationship with Niners GM John Lynch. So it just makes a whole lot of sense that both teams are interested in Deebo. Now, for our case, I would get trading for Deebo. Now, would I love it? No. Deebo is not my preference, and Deebo and Cooper Kupp are both available. There's a possibility that both guys get cut, actually, right? I know us and the Texans are very interested in him, but there is still a possibility that the Niners don't get a deal done, and they might as well just cut Deebo right from there, right? If they don't get a trade done, obviously, right? So, you know, I wouldn't mind Deebo. I'll say that. I wouldn't mind Deebo. Once again, he's not my preference, but we got to look out there in free agency, in the trade market. There aren't a lot of options at receiver. T. Higgins, he's going to be franchise tagged most likely. The deadline is next Tuesday. I expect the Bengals to place the tag on him if they don't get an extension done by Tuesday. Chris Godwin, he's trying to work out a long-term deal with the Bucks, right? So those are the biggest names in free agency off the market. After them, it's Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, Darius Slayton, right? Like, there just aren't a lot of options out there. So I know Deebo, Cooper Kupp may not be your favorite option. However, it's what we have to work with. And once again, I wouldn't mind Deebo. He does offer a skill set that we do need, right? He offers good yards after catch, run after catch ability, right? We don't have a guy to do that. De'Ami Brown was our best yak guy, run after catch guy. And even him, he had some limitations, right? With Deebo Samuel, you put it in his hands, he can make some out of none, right? He can get a good chunk of yards if you put it in his hands, the ball in his hands. I don't know if you guys caught John Lynch's presser yesterday at the Combine, but it was pretty adamant, or actually it wasn't yesterday, I think it was 2 days ago, but it was pretty adamant that they are ready to move on from Deebo Samuel. Lynch even said that there are some teams calling about Deebo Samuel, a lot of teams calling about Deebo Samuel, and there are some suitors, and, you know, the process with Deebo has been good. He's been very, talkative with them, right? They've connected very well when it comes to trying to get a trade done, right? So, you know, all is moving well on their side, right? And he said that there are a lot of teams, you know, wanting Deebo Samuel, and it clearly shows that us and the Texans both want Deebo Samuel, and then the Broncos and the Steelers checked up on the Deebo Samuel situation as well. Over his career with the 49ers, Deebo has only posted up one 1,000 plus yard receiving season, right? So that isn't amazing. Now, he has dealt with injuries as well. He hasn't played a full 16-game season or 17-game season since 2021, which is when he put up over 1,000 yards, right? But it isn't like he's been like crazy injured. Like the past 2 seasons, he's played 15 games each. Not too bad, right? He's dealt with some injuries, but it's not like crazy injury prone or anything like that. So he can stay relatively healthy. Now, his production over the past couple years hasn't been great, especially this past season. In 2023, it wasn't bad. 892 yards on 60 catches, 7 touchdowns. That's not bad, but this past season, it wasn't great. 51 catches, 670 yards, 3 touchdowns. And remember, Brandon Ayuk, he tore his ACL early on in the year, right? I want to say like week 6, week 7, right? So it gave Deebo an opportunity to, you know, get more usage in the offense, right? Get a lot more targets. And even with that, he wasn't able to put up amazing numbers, right? So that could be a concern with Deebo. Now, although the production with Deebo hasn't been there over the past year or two, I do also think about fit in this offense. Once again, we need a guy that can do a good amount with the ball in his hands, has great run after catch ability, and Deebo Samuel can do that, right? So I feel like he would fit pretty well in our offense. And also, Jaden, he's shown the ability to elevate receivers, right? He elevated Olamide Zaccheaus. He elevated De'Ami Brown. He elevated Noah Brown, right? So Jaden can elevate receivers, right? And adding a guy like Deebo Samuel, who, once again, isn't an elite receiver 2 or anything like that, right? I would even view him as like a receiver 3 or kind of like your gadget guy, right? Who can do a lot after the catch, right? But is he a pure receiver 2? I don't know, right? But Jaden and Cliff's offense would definitely be able to elevate Deebo a little bit. And I also think back to Zach Ertz, right? When we signed Zach Ertz, a lot of people thought that he wouldn't do a whole lot, you know, with us the one season. We're probably going to bring him back, but we'll see. But a lot of people thought that when we signed him, probably wasn't going to do a whole lot. Would probably be a coach for, you know, whatever tight end we draft, and he just wasn't going to do a lot. But he put up great stats this past season, right? As we all know, over 600 yards and 7 touchdowns. So if we were to trade for Deebo Samuel, maybe he can kind of have a resurgence like Zach Ertz did here, right? So that's one thing to definitely keep in mind when it comes to Deebo. For the Texans, a Deebo Samuel trade makes a lot of sense for them. They got Nico Collins, but Tank Dell, he obviously suffered a brutal knee injury towards the end of the season against the Chiefs. I want to say it was week 16 before Christmas, the weekend before Christmas, right? So he tore his ACL up, or his complete knee up, right? And Stephon Diggs, he's a free agent coming off of an ACL tear, right? So you don't really have a bunch of receiver help for CJ Stroud. So acquiring a guy like Deebo Samuel would kind of help them out with, you know, getting more receiver help around CJ Stroud while Tank Dell is healing back up, right? Because right now you only got Nico Collins, right? So you got to get more help for your young quarterback. So definitely makes sense as to why they are interested in him. Obviously, they need more receiver help, and of course they have the connections, D'Amico Ryans to John Lynch, because obviously D'Amico Ryans, he was formerly the Niners D coordinator. Now, when it comes to compensation that the Niners would want for Deebo and compensation that you would probably have to give up, it's going to be a day 3 pick, right? A guy like Deebo Samuel isn't going to go for a whole lot. You know, he's 29 years old, has 1 year left on his deal. If you acquire him, it's going to be a $15 million cap hit, which is pretty much nothing, right? But with the way, you know, he's performed, his production over the past year or two, especially this past 2024 season, he isn't going to go for a whole lot. So it's going to be a day 3 pick. And the most you're going to have to give up for Deebo Samuel is probably a 5th round pick. But honestly, I feel like the Niners would be fine with receiving a 6th round pick for Deebo Samuel, right? So those are my thoughts on the potential compensation that the Niners would probably want for a Deebo Samuel, right? So comment down below your thoughts on us being very interested in Deebo Samuel. Once again, it doesn't shock me. We need receiver help. And although Deebo isn't the option that we would love, he would be help, and he would be better than what we've had over the past couple of years, right? So I wouldn't mind Deebo Samuel, but I definitely wouldn't like insanely love it, right? But he would be a good scheme fit, and I do believe that Jaden can elevate him. So that is it for today's video. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.